On the first video on this channel, I pointed out the bus in the announcement trailer. And before, I talked about the potential of playing as the bus driver, based on what Rod Humble has explained about NPCs. And today, I want to dive deeper into the concept of traffic and transit. And the first question that I have is, why did Rod Humble and the Paradox team feel it was necessary to include buses in the first place in the announcement trailer? Let's jump in. My name is Michael, and welcome back to Sovereign Gaming. When I was thinking about buses being in Life by You after watching it on the announcement trailer, I got around to thinking about why a bus system would even be necessary to include in the game. When it comes to public transit existing in other Sims games, the only example that I can really think of is in The Sims 3 Late Night, where we got the rabbit hole stops that Sims would disappear into and teleport elsewhere. If I remember correctly, when it was first launched, these rabbit hole subway stops and elevators, quite frankly, took Sims too long to use. Feel free to comment if there were any other examples of public transit in the Sims franchise that actually functioned sort of like public transit. I would be curious to see if there was something that I forgot. Anyways, I just wanted to point that out because other large life simulation franchises like The Sims never made public transit a feature of any kind. And yet here we are with Life by You opening a pretty big can of worms and placing buses in the announcement trailer right in front of our faces. What do I mean by opening a can of worms? Well, as I understand the Life by You game as it is marketed to us, it feels like a pretty large-scale life simulation game. And to me, the base game feels pretty packed, and I would go as far to say that the Paradox team would be careful not to mislead the players with features that might not make it into the game. Furthermore, I would imagine that Rod Humble and the Paradox team envisioned a much longer-term franchise being built out of Life by You. And with that said, my assumption here would be that there would have to be some sort of a necessity to include buses or a public transit system in the base game, since that could have easily been a feature that could have been packaged up as an expansion pack. We all know that EA will sell anything that isn't bolted down to the Sims community, so this was a feature that kind of surprised me in the announcement trailer, as it seemed like low-hanging fruit, just from my perspective. It just seems like incorporating and promising a bus system would be a huge system to introduce into the base game, and this has me questioning, how will traffic actually behave in-game? In the first-person perspective video released by Paradox, we can see that we can drive the cars. However, we can also see that we can park the cars as well. Even though there wasn't any other traffic driving in the video, I think that the concept of parking your car indicates that Rod Humble and the Paradox team put a lot of thought into how vehicle traffic will behave in Life by You. And to be fair, in the first-person video, we did see the car both appear out of the Life by Humans pocket, and we also saw it park on the street. My question here is, will vehicular traffic have to slow down for other vehicles, or will they just clip through other vehicles like in The Sims 3? Because if vehicles behave somewhat like they do in real life, then that is yet another huge system to program in Life by You. But it could also explain why Paradox decided it was necessary to have a form of public transit in the game. Since buses carry more people at once, it can transport more Life by You humans from one destination to another. Bus systems aren't necessarily designed just as a city service for people without cars. They can also be used strategically to take cars off the road when they are made to be reliable. Regardless of how you feel about buses functioning in real life, for some reason Paradox thought it was necessary to include them and paint that expectation for the base game. And I want to know why, with my speculation being that vehicular traffic behaves similarly in-game to real life, creating that necessity. I said it before, but it seems like a lot of extra work to include a feature like this unless it was addressing some sort of an in-game challenge. A challenge that I would personally love in Life by You. I also can't help but to wonder if we will be given the ability to design bus lines or bus routes in Life by You. Even if traffic doesn't behave realistically, We can clearly see in the announcement trailer that there is a bus, and I think it wouldn't be out of the question to think that we might be given the ability to design bus lines as well. I keep saying this, but there may very well be a logistical reason to introduce buses to the player in the early stages of marketing so early on. I just think that it would take up a lot of time just to program a bus for the base game unless Paradox really needed it. But this feature also makes me wonder if traffic management, much like housing, will be another city planning gameplay mechanic that players will have to contend with in the future. And perhaps this question of mine is just too premature at the time of the releasing this video, but I just can't help but feel that they purposefully showed us that they coded a bus in the base game for a reason. I think that it is also fair to speculate that the idea of public transit can be expanded further in a future DLC or expansion pack, since they are introducing public transit to us so early on in the franchise's life. For example, a future expansion pack could feature urban living, expanding public transit options such as trams or metros. I totally get that I might be getting ahead of myself here, but when Paradox put the bus in the launch trailer, it wasn't by accident, and I stand by that. Personally, I would love realistic traffic to be a feature in Life by You, but like with most macro planning like features, I would like for it to be an option, as I feel that there are players out there that just wouldn't like this feature at all. We have also come to find out from Rod Humble's playthrough that buses carry tourists. What I thought was specifically interesting is that Rod Humble referred to the bus as a tourist bus. This introduces a whole new school of thought that maybe buses just carry tourists as opposed to it functioning as a local route, which is something that I am open to. What I also thought was interesting in the playthrough was that Rod Humble mentioned that there were 2 bus stops in the world he was playing in, and that the player can set up the bus system, I guess, however they want. Again, this just goes to show that Life by You intends on taking life sim features that were introduced in prior games to the next level. This also suggests that tourists, or at least the generation of tourists in game, is a separate game mechanic introducing real NPCs into the game arriving to the town from off-screen, and that leaves me wondering if we would be able to gain control of those NPCs like we would with a delivery driver. I want to know what you have to think though. Do you think that buses will be used for both the local routes and for transporting tourists? Would you enjoy city planning gameplay such as managing and housing populations and managing the traffic that comes with them in your world? How do you think public transportation will work in Life by You in the early access version and beyond in the series? Sound off in the comments below with your thoughts. I want to hear what you have to think. And until next time, I just want to thank you again for watching, and if you'd like to see more videos like this, then feel free to like and subscribe for more. Thank you again, and have yourself a wonderful day.